It's my favorite segment of the show. It's Wexley Spills the Tea. Maybe a little bit of Lipton. Maybe it's brisk today. I'm not sure. Maybe some Snapple. Maybe some Sobe. Give me some tea.
We're going straight Arizona today.
Oh, Arizona. I'm good with that. I like it. 99 cents for like a
Arizona.
2x4.
I'm going to fill you up a nice 99-cent 24-ounce of Arizona right now. And we're going to get right into it. Pretty much the day after we recorded our last episode, WWE is at it again, releasing a whole bunch of fucking people.
I mean, yeah, you hate to hear it, especially Dakota Kai. That was the only one that really stood out to me. That was like, really? And then Harland, obviously, because like they'd rep so like pumped up that signing so big, and then just to do nothing with him, I don't know. It just feels really lame. Especially like I feel like the potential matches that him and maybe Gable Stevenson could have might make sense. You know what I mean? Like they could kind of do that MMA style, that amateur wrestling style thing. I don't know. Nobody else really like hit the funny bone for me though. What about you?
I mean, other notable ones. Malcolm Bivens, aka Stokely Hathaway, probably one of the best managers period round because
sure.
You know, no one really masters the art of being a manager anymore, and he's great at it. And Dexter Loomis, I feel like that was a pretty significant name because a couple of these guys were like on TV current storylines, and then they're just fucking gone the next week.
Yeah, it is weird. It's weird how
apparently the writers production has no clue about the releases, so they're writing TV like business as usual, and then next thing you know, one of the dudes in your main storyline is just fucking gone. And
yeah,
it's crazy because they really hyped Harland or Parker Bordeaux, right, whatever his real name is.
Yeah.
They were like, he's mini Lesnar, the new Lesnar. They were kind of hyping him up, and then just to get rid of him, I thought he was basically one of the pillars of NXT 2.0, one of the leading guys they were trying to go with. But shit, doesn't make any sense. But yeah,
I mean, it's probably an expensive contract that he wasn't fulfilling on the field. Who knows?
They say budget cuts, even though they just announced their quarterly earnings and made a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, I know. I own stock in WWE, so I know all about that.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going. So something I'm actually pretty excited about coming up. Cody Rhodes is going to appear on the Broken Skull Sessions, the Stone Cold podcast that comes on the network now on Peacock, and that should be pretty interesting because they're going to see if Cody, is he going to go Raw? Is he going to let it all out, or is he going to keep it WWE style?
I mean, I think both. I think that this is Cody is quote unquote back home now. I mean, now he's in WWE. I'm not saying. I mean, I don't know where he ends up. I think that's the most intriguing thing about Cody is that like I could easily see him going back to AEW at some point. I could see him just retiring in WWE at some point. So I think he's just gonna do what's best for Cody, which is smart. I mean, so I think he'll probably play it by the book. But I mean, they're obviously going to talk about AEW.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and they had Chris Jericho on Broken Skull Sessions while he was contracted with AEW.
Yeah.
That's like all they really talked about for a little bit of it. But one thing that I'm not excited about is this upcoming pay-per-view this weekend, WrestleMania Backlash. It's literally all WrestleMania rematches. And again, only thing I'm looking forward to is Rollins, Cody, and AJ and Edge, because I'm hoping that AJ and Edge can make up for WrestleMania, have a little bit better match, and then Cody and Rollins can just bust out another banker. Because there's literally not a world title match on the fucking card. There's nothing to really be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just Rollins and Rhodes. I feel like that Rollins Rhodes 2 is the only thing that I'm remotely excited about. I feel like everything else I'm just gonna kind of like skim through.
Edge and AJ has a lot of potential because they kind of interjected Finn Balor into the storyline there a little bit this past week on Raw. So maybe we can see a little something cool there because Finn Balor, another one of those great WWE wrestlers who was just fucking underutilized and been buried ever since he had that injury.
I mean, if they're not gonna put AJ in the main event title picture, I don't see why you don't put AJ and Balor together. Run that gimmick as a great tag team. I mean, they could have some killer matches.
Lots of history. The two first two leaders of Bullet Club. That's
plus like an impending like Usos feud between those two guys. That'd be sick. The matches would be really good, no doubt about it.
That'd be pretty cool. So former WWE writer and movie star Freddie Prince Jr. of the classic Scooby-Doo live action is going to be starting his own promotion that he says. He came out, had a little interview about it. It's on his podcast, and he's all in. He wants to start his own promotion. What do you think about that?
I mean, good for him. I think listen, he's got. He he did the job. I mean, he knows what to do. He worked under Vince McMahon, and I feel like if you're going to promote and you worked under Vince McMahon, that's definitely a plus. At least have some kind of idea of how the business runs. I mean, I don't obviously like. I don't know what. I know that he worked as a writer, but I don't know what exact storylines he was involved in. I'm not sure if he ever wrote anything worthwhile, but maybe he wrote some great angles. I'm not sure. I'll watch it. We'll cover it on the show. Yeah, I mean, I wish him well. I mean, I honestly want more wrestling, so why not? More companies. I like it.
Yeah, and maybe it'll kind of be like one of those like a PWG type indie where they just have big names, big matches, but it's not necessarily. Yeah. I don't know, like, storylines like, AEW, Ring of Honor, WWE, maybe something pretty cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of former WWE superstar, John Morrison, a.k.a. now, I said a.k.a. now, I fucked that up, but John Morrison is now going by Johnny Game Changer, making his debut for GCW, May the 29th. So I don't know if we're covering that show, if that's on the docket, but that might be pretty cool because, he's a fucking great wrestler who's been, May the 29th. Is that on the docket?
I believe
that's the one. Then that's the one. I'm pretty excited. I don't know who he's gonna face, but
yeah, and that one's actually. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was saying maybe the likes of somebody like Ninja Mac.
Maybe, but that GCW show is going up against Double or Nothing, so that's gonna be a hell of a show.
Ooh, sure. That is gonna be a hell of a weekend. God damn.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that, man. It's gonna be really, really exciting.
And I strategically mentioned Ninja Mac right there because it just announced Ninja Mac just signed a 1-year deal with Pro Wrestling Noah. And he's going to be like one of their top gaijins over there. And I think it'll be pretty sick because he's awesome. I've watched a few clips of some of his matches in Noah, and I feel like that's going to be nothing but positive for him and Noah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I think it's a good thing to have some of this talent spread out. I mean, you can't have everybody in AEW. I think we're already seeing that. I really hope that Ring of Honor as a second brand really works out well for them and they can actually spread out some of the talent they have signed. Because, they still have guys that just aren't getting any TV time at all. They have Miro, who's been just, nothing's going on. Brian Cage, nothing's really going on. Kip Sabian, nothing's really going on. He's been healthy for months. They got a lot of guys that they're not really doing a whole lot with because they just can't. And I don't know. I hope it all works out. I
really hope that ROH stuff you're talking about at least turns into a streaming deal, or at least going back to how they used to be on local fucking TV late at night, anything, honestly.
Oh no. I don't mind. I don't mind if it's a YouTube. I genuinely think they should make Ring of Honor all Dark and Elevation should all become one 2-hour long show, and it's just Ring of Honor. It's a 2-hour long show and it's YouTube, but they just do it in Orlando, the same place they do Dark and all that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I would not be opposed to that. And all the like you said, all the people, all the different companies they're working with, they could probably send some guys to do some New Japan shots, maybe some Impact. We saw William Morrissey, aka Big Ass Big Cass, on Dynamite last week. And he's a Impact star. So maybe we can see some more stuff like that. And with all these companies, there's one person who is not ever going to work for any of these companies ever again, and they're never going to work for the promotion they just had a falling out with. Wow, and I'm talking about Tessa Blanchard, which you probably could have guessed because she's just goddamn can't get along with anybody anywhere. It doesn't matter where she goes. Apparently, the only place she's going to be able to work now is Mexico. That's it.
Wow,
she's burned all the bridges.
What happened? Who did she burn?
She apparently was doing some training for WoW and gonna work for him, and she was just doing her classic bullying bitch bullshit while she was training people and being an asshole, and everyone complained.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think that the whole Tessa Blanchard thing could be fixed if it was addressed properly. But I don't know. I don't know. I could, I think she has a lot of talent. It's sad that I'm not going to see her wrestle on TV, but I don't think that her talent is going to be greatly missed, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just one of those cases of attitude and ego versus, skill, which some people can overcome that. Their skill is just so fucking good they can act like that, but she's just not quite that level to where she can get away with it.
Definitely not. And especially not that her name is devalued so much as it has from that reputation,
Yeah. She still has the right of being the only female Impact World Champion of all time. So, but I think Jordynne Grace can probably take that slot here soon. I think they could maybe push that.
I don't mind that idea.
That'd be a nice angle. random as hell, AEW has a class action lawsuit filed against them for allegedly violating the Americans with Disabilities Act, claiming that shopaew.com isn't accessible for visually impaired people. And I'm like, it's a fucking website. I don't think any websites are made for visually impaired people. Zoom in on that bitch. You know, you can zoom in on your screen, make it bigger. Someone's just being an asshole and nitpicking here, clearly.
What?
Yeah, this is real. It's a straight up lawsuit.
lawsuit.
Yeah. The Americans with Disabilities Act. Like,
Wow.
dude, zoom in on your browser, dude.
Wow, that's a little crazy. That's
Get your buddy to come tell you what shirt to order.
But if it's class action, that means there's multiple people that are in on this, which is really strange to me. But
it's probably an WWE anti-AEW thing.
Oh yeah,
I'm guessing it's such a stupid little thing. And what are they gonna do? Like, make them change their website? Like, pay these people money? Because if anything, some people should be filing a lawsuit against Pro Wrestling Tees for that security breach they didn't tell anybody about. If anything. Not something so minuscule and stupid like this.
I totally agree about that. Yeah, that's a little shady there, guys. A little shady there, guys.
A little bit shady is how I would describe the communication between Marco Stunt, Joey Janela, and the AEW offices. Their contracts were coming up to expire, and apparently another person has fallen victim to this, but they didn't have the communication issue, but their contracts expired and they're no longer with the company. Someone very surprising. Stu Grayson of the Dark Order.
Really?
Yeah, his contracts expire. He's off the website, off the roster page, and apparently they couldn't come to an agreement. Like, they actually had negotiations. So I don't think the door is quite shut for him to just, like, maybe come back if they can figure something out. But he's done. He's off the website, and they said his contract is done, along with Jack Evans.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah,
but Stu Grayson, he was like he's a mainstay in the Dark Order. That just kind of doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but the Dark Order is just at this point is just why?
It's pretty much ran its course. It's not what it used to be.
Just let it stop. Just good God, guys.
I feel like I feel like everybody who's in the Dark Order at this point could be straight as their regular tag team or solo wrestler. They've like made them a name for themselves enough to where they could just ride that out.
Yeah, no, totally. I completely agree.
Some other weird kind of AEW news, they have a new reality show coming out on TBS. And it's supposed to be kind of like chronicling just like the backstage stuff that's going on. So it's going to be like BTE, but like reality-based and like TBS type shit, I guess. But I'm not sure how I feel about it.
It's going to be like Rose to the Top, except just with like all of the locker room.
Basically like a little pretty much is how the description I read. It's going to be kind of like Rose to the Top, but it's going to cover more people than just Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They have to fill in that content, you know. I mean, I wonder if Cody owns the rights to that Rhodes to the Top show, like the name. Because I mean,
he does, because they're making they actually sent out some emails to some AEW thing. If you're subscribed, like, vote on a new name, and here's a list of different names we could choose.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, is Rhodes to the Top just going to move to USA Network and like he's going to have his own reality? You know what I'm saying? Like season 2 just comes out there.
Maybe Cody does have something to do with it. You know?
I mean, I mean, if I'm
he's
Cody,
a
why not?
businessman. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that dude fought so long to get that last name back that now that he's got it, it's like, yo, like I'm going to do everything I can with it now. Good for him. I think he should. If he does have rights to that name, I'd say try to do season 2 with a different channel. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. There's not any really more like outstanding big news. If you watched Dynamite last night, we got a new Ring of Honor Women's Champion. It should have been Deonna Purrazzo, but it's probably had something to do with Impact and contract stuff that she couldn't win the title because she probably still has to be on Impact, and they don't want to use her too much because Deonna definitely deserves it over Mercedes Martinez. I'm sorry. Deonna Purrazzo is just a better wrestler, I think. Sorry. She's a technician.
I mean, I would put her in the top 10 bell-to-bell workers on Earth right now, period. Male, female, whatever. Yeah, I definitely agree she should have deserved to get the win there. But
it was just kind of, just the match wasn't all that because it just wasn't really built up, and it was just kind of like a throwaway, let's get this title off of her, get it on Mercedes. But I'm looking forward to the future of the Impact Women's division. Maybe they can do a little something with it.
Yes, indeed. And with that being said, man, that's going to wrap up the news here. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the show. It's myself and the patron saint of the Rock Block, Mr. Jesse Baker, covering WWF's In Your House, Revenge of the Taker 1997, going up against New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestling Dontaku 2022. Here we go.